Today we are going to start Unit 2, which is about polynomials and long division of polynomials. First lesson that we're going to go over with is the long division of polynomials and the remainder theorem. So if you want to factor polynomials, for example, if you want to factor quadratic, we know that we can do different types of factoring, either by sum product, or we can do decomposition, or we can do difference of squares. But if I have a cubic function or a quadratic function or any kind of function that I can't factor using what I use with quadratic, I have to factor using long division. Now, in order for me to be able to use long division, I need to have a polynomial and a factor or a binomial that I can divide it by. So for now, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to remember how to do long division with numbers, and then we're going to explore how to do long division using a polynomial and a binomial. So the first example is you are dividing 107 by 4. So just as a reminder, this is the 107 is your dividend and 4 is your divisor. So you're going to set it up as 107 divided by 4. Now, how many times does 4 go into 1? We can't do that, so that's why we have to start with 10. So 4, how many times does it go into 10? And that would be twice. And then we do 2 times 4, that gives me 8. And then we can do the subtraction. 10 subtract 8 is 2. Bring down the 7. And now you have 27. How many times does 4 go into 27? 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. And then you do your subtraction. And then you'll be left with a remainder of 3. So as you can see here, this is your quotient. This is your dividend. This is your divisor. And this is your remainder. I can write every division with a division statement. So here's how that goes. There's 2 ways that you can write it. So you can write it as 107 is equal to. So to get 107, what I need to do is I need to multiply 26 by 4, and then I need to add 3, because 26 times 4 gives me 104. So I need to add the remainder to give me the 107. So that's one way to write that division statement. 107 is equal to 26 times 4 plus the remainder of 3. Or you can write it as a division statement. So the question is, what's 107 divided by 4? So 107 divided by 4 gave me 26 plus 3 divided by 4. So if you do the math here, if you actually enter this in a calculator and do 107 divided by 4, that's going to give you 26.75. And then if I do the right side, 26 plus 3 over 4 is 0.75. That's also going to give me 26.75. So you see both of these give me the same answer. Let's try one more example. So we're going to use long division to calculate 753 divided by 22. Set it up exactly the same way. How many times does it go into 7? I can't do that, so I have to take the 75. 22, how many times does it go into 75? So I'm going to use 3. So 3 times 22 gives me 66, and that's the closest multiple. So 75 minus 66, that's going to give me 9. Perfect. Bring down the 3. So that gives you 93. And how many times does 22 go into 93? And that is 4. 4 times 22, that's 88. Do the subtraction, and you're going to end up with a remainder of 5. Remember that always whatever answer you get after the subtraction should be less than 22. Otherwise, that means you've used one less multiple. Now, if I want to write a remainder or an equation for that, I can write it in 2 different ways. I can say that 753 is equal to 22 times 34 plus 5. But I can write it as a division statement, and that will be 753 divided by 22 equals to 34 plus 5 over 22. So if you do the math again for this, you're going to get about 34.227. And then 5 over 22 is 0.227 approximately. So that's going to be 34.227 as well. You see that both answers are the same. So this is long division using integers. Now, how do I use that long division to divide polynomials and binomials? So I'm going to have to set it up exactly the same way. So I have, you're trying to find a quotient of 3x cubed minus 5x squared minus 7x minus 1 divided by x minus 3. So we're going to set it up. Dividend is right here. Your divisor is on the side. Now, when you're dividing, you're going to only focus on the first term of the dividend and the divisor. We're not going to care about the other terms. So we're going to focus on the first term of the divisor and the first term of the dividend. How many times does x go into 3x cubed? Or you can think of it in the way of, if I divide 3x cubed by x, what do I get? If I divide 3x cubed by x, so I'm just going to do this on the slide here for you guys. If I divide 3x cubed by x, I'm going to end up with 3x squared. So that is what's going to go in my quotient. So that's going to be 3x squared here. Because remember that I'm going to have to multiply. So multiply 3x squared by x, and that's going to give you 3x cubed. And then you're going to multiply 3x squared by the negative 3. And that's going to give you negative 9x squared. Now, you see that this, whatever we put in the quotient, was multiplied by both of the terms in the divisor. Now let's subtract. So I'm going to have to subtract both terms. So 3x cubed subtract 3x cubed, and the whole idea is to get rid of this. So it's going to be 0. They're going to cancel each other. But I have negative 5x squared minus negative 9x squared. So that's going to be a 4x squared. And then what I have to do here, I have to bring down the negative 7x. Now we're going to follow exactly the same process. We're going to look at the first term, which is the 4x squared and x. If I divide 4x squared by x, that's going to give me 4x. Now multiply the 4x by x and by negative 3. So it's going to give you 4x squared minus 12x. So again, I'm multiplying the 4x by the x, and I'm multiplying the 4x by the negative 3. So I subtract 4x subtract 4x squared, 4x squared subtract 4x squared, that's they're gonna eliminate to 0, and then you have 7x minus negative 12x, and that's gonna give you 5x. Now you're gonna bring down the negative 1. Again, if I divide 5x by x, we're looking at the first term all the time. 5x divided by x, that gives me 5. And then 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 3, that's negative 15. And then we're going to subtract both terms, and that's going to end up with a remainder of 14. So, quotient is the 3x squared plus 4x plus 5. The remainder is 14. Let's see how we're going to write this in quotient form. So in the quotient form, you're going to write your polynomial divided by your binomial. So that's going to be the 3x cubed minus 5x squared minus 7x minus 1 divided by x minus 3. And that's equal to your quotient, which is 3x squared plus 4x plus 5, and then plus your remainder divided by your divisor. So your polynomial, which is your dividend, divided by your binomial, which is your divisor, is equal to your quotient plus the remainder over the divisor. So that's the same thing as what is written here in general form. The expression that can be used to check the division, so if you want to do double check, you can write your polynomial, which is 3x cubed minus 5x squared minus 7x minus 1. And then you can write your divisor times your quotient, so that's going to be x minus 3 times 3x squared plus 4x plus 5. And then you're going to add your remainder. And then you can do FOIL to see if actually that's the correct answer. And then this is the general form for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some time to work on this, and then we'll take it up in another video. So work on these questions for now, and let's see if you guys can do it, and then you can check your answer in the other video.